Hello, Professor
Hello.
Charlie. How are you?
I'm good. There we go. We gotta get over to a proper camera setup. That was bad. This is my
It's
there was a
amazing.
time there was a time when this was the YouTube channel.
uh,
Um,
I
but now
love
we
it. I
don't.
love it. I am already recording. Bueno, first of all, Charlie, thank you very much for your time for being here. I followed you some I think like weeks ago in Twitter, yeah, recently, but I saw your school academy before somewhere,
Mm.
and I like it. And something later I want to ask you. So yeah, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me. I always try to make time for stuff like this, especially if I feel like it can be fun and enjoyable and helpful to people. So I have a feeling your audience is going to love this, and I'm going to enjoy the conversation we're going to have. So let's get in there and help some people know that that's what it's all about.
Amazing. I think I always said people need ads in their life in the sense of like sometimes you say, oh, I would pay so so I don't receive the ads in YouTube Premium or whatever because but later people like sometimes like what they buy, or if the audience is good, it's amazing. So the first thing that I wanted to ask you is how this all started, because 20 years ago Facebook exists, but Facebook ad is still not, I think, if I'm not wrong. How do you start with all of that meta ads?
Yeah. So for me, the way I started, I was a radio personality and a touring musician. And then I got good enough at promoting myself. The people asked me to promote them. And then I eventually started an organic growth company where we were hacking like Instagram and Facebook page growth, stuff like that. And my biggest client fired me. We're still friends, but he fired me. He said, I spent $100 in Facebook ads and I got more than I pay you 2,000 a month for in a night. And this is 2012. It says like, look, I'm going to pay out my contract, but I don't need you to do any work anymore.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay. And the next day I put my credit card into Facebook and started running ads to promote my band. And within 3 months, I was running ads at an agency for brands like Viking River Cruises and Jamba Juice. Within 6 months, I was doing stuff for like Comic-Con. And within 9 months, I was a supervisor at Omnicom running $1 million a day for brands like Nissan and Henkel and CBS Television, working with Activision and Levi's and Apple.
Wow.
And because I had been doing it for 9 months and it was 2013, I had more experience than almost anybody else. And yeah, like it was, I've been doing it for a long time. And I I have a couple college degrees in business and I'm a very highly analytical person. So very early on, nobody cared about Facebook. It wasn't Yahoo email ads. It wasn't print. It wasn't television. So my bosses didn't really care about what I did. And there was one Facebook rep for half of the United States. It shows you how few people were actually advertising. And what was great was because I had a lot of education and I was really good at writing like case studies and doing testing. Facebook just kept giving me huge checks, like credits to run tests with all their stuff. So I ended up running like the first lead gen ads and the first catalog ads, and I helped develop broad targeting and dynamic creative now flex ads and all of those things, CBO, because nobody else knew how to do really scientific case studies that was also spending $1 million a day. And I had that with nobody understanding what I did, nobody really caring. So I just got really close to all the engineering teams and got to try all the tools and help build out the way the platform works. So now most of the tools are things that I had a hand in developing how they operate, which gives me an unfair advantage in teaching people what they should be doing.
Yeah. Amazing. Let me doing. You know what I was thinking? I mean, you of course have much more experience than me. I love of Facebook ads, like Meta in general. And Google, I'm not so friend because it's more difficult for me. But
Mhm.
I want to tell you is at the beginning, I remember in 2013, 2014, it looked like was much easier, like that people pay attention to you, to your ads because there was less people and people didn't have. Now people want like things too fast in 1 2 seconds. Even they get bored, their attention is like
Mhm.
your attention much less time. How do you think it should be like? I mean, of course, I suppose it depends of the brand and the sector and the niche, but how should be like the ads now compared to like 10 years before? If you want your client, your possible client or the user, pay attention to your website, your ads, and not like scroll fast or like there was a bounce very quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two answers to that question. And I think it really depends on where your business is. I think most people are being lied to about what they should be doing. Or not lied to. I think most people that tell folks what to do don't understand the way that business works. Let me be very honest. Very, very few people need to worry about educating the customer on what a problem is. Very few people need to worry about telling people that a solution exists. You see people all the time talking about, I need upper funnel, mid funnel, and low funnel, bottom funnel creative, and all of that stuff. The honest truth is, you probably never really need upper funnel creative. And so my point to that is, when I was running $1 million a day,
Wow.
it was almost never. I mean, I was doing it before there was even a Facebook pixel, so conversion campaigns didn't even exist. But most of the brands that are spending 500,000, $1 million or more a day aren't trying to make sales. They're just trying to get attention, right? Like the Persil laundry detergent or Tide or Levi's jeans or whatever it is. They're just trying to get your eyes. They're just trying to get your attention. They're creating demand and need. So the point to that is, I think a lot of people are focusing on things like hook rate. They're trying to get attention. And that's great, but it's way more profitable to find people who are ready to buy. If you're doing e-commerce, find people who are ready to buy that are unhappy with what they can get at the store. That's why direct to consumer exists. So the point to that is, it's not about your video ad being really engaging on a hook rate. It's way more about when somebody has their credit card out, can you show them that you're a better choice? And I'm okay with a terrible hook rate. I'm okay with a terrible click-through rate. I don't want my ads to be really engaging to folks that aren't ready to buy. If your definition of success is 5 sales today or 100 sales this week, all you need to do is steal 0.0001% of folks who are going to buy from another brand that doesn't care about their customers. Like if you're trying a sneaker business, you just need to be better than Nike for one person because Nike can't meet all of their needs, right? If you're trying to be, so the point to that being, I think there's way too much attention put into my ad has to appeal and get the attention of people because they're scrolling on all this other stuff. If your ad just does a good job at getting somebody the point of what they're trying to do at the very end of their customer journey, it'll be shown to the folks that are looking for that thing, right? So like if I'm in market for like an iPhone case, you don't have to have the world's greatest video. You just need to have something that shows a phone with a case on it. And if I'm in market, I'll stop. Like my case here is from Arc. Now Arc has really amazing stuff. They have creators throwing phones and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. But some of their best ads are just a picture of the phone with the case on it.
You never know.
Yeah. The thing is, if I'm in market to buy, I'm visually looking around like, oh, that's a phone. I know what it is. So instead of being really clever and something that's going to stop somebody's scroll and hopefully entertain them and stuff, I think not enough people focus on making it really stupid. Like make it so that it's so dumb. If I'm interested, I know it subconsciously in a half a second. And that's why my buddy Barry Hott talks about ugly ads. It's because an ugly ad gets the point across in right away.
Yeah.
And so my point to that is, I think it's really interesting how attention is changing in TikTok and all sorts of other stuff. But if you want an ad that's great, make it really apparent to the person who's got the credit card out looking to buy that you're an option when they're unhappy with everybody else. That'll get you your first 1,000 sales a week. You don't need to solve a problem bigger than that.
Well, makes sense. I love it. Yeah, because sometimes we are too focused. I mean, beginners or people that have some experience with the CTR, the cost per click, and why you want like 1,000 people going if later there is 0 or 1 buying. It's like, doesn't make any sense. I like that to think. I sometimes think like your product or service should be like so good in the sense of like people feel stupid, they don't end up buying. In the sense of like, if you can think like that, like very extreme, maybe a lot of people will buy. Something like that, you know. But
I mean, your offer should be good, but people aren't going to find out about your offer if they don't click on your ad.
Completely agree. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing. So I think your answer, which is great, is kind of connected with the next question that I like it, which is, what do you think separate the brands that make like 8 to 9 figures to the one that are like less than 1 million? Are because as difficult is, okay, I validate the products and people are buying, and even more difficult is to scale because people think, oh, I just put like double money and I will have double sales. Not at all. So what's the difference? What performed well because of your experience?
Yeah, I will say making the first million is exceptionally more difficult than going from 1 million to 10. Going from 1 million to 10 is easy. Getting from 0 to 1 is the hardest thing. Now, what separates, there's 3 things I want to cover here. First, if a brand is doing 9 figures, almost always their marketing is terrible. 99% of their Facebook ads are going to fail. What got them to be a 9-figure business has nothing to do with the way they run their business as a 9-figure company. So what you need to do to maintain that size is very different than how you get to that size. So if you're going to try to become the next $100 million business, the last thing you should do is copy what a $100 million business is currently doing. Like, don't look at True Classic or Dr. Squatch or Ridge Wallets and say, that's what I should do with my ads. Because they're solving a completely different problem. They have a very different thing going on, which brings me to point number 2. The way that those businesses get there, they are focused on buying customer journeys. They are not salespeople. Most folks that struggle to get to the first million are trying to sell products. They're looking at their ads as, how do I sell this thing for the best return on ad spend? You are a salesperson for a factory in China, printing money for your bank and your 3PL. You are not a business. A business has customers that buy again. I don't know a single business doing 8 figures that doesn't have repeat sales as at least 20, 30, 40% of their business. So what those people are doing that's different than what most people that are struggling is they're focusing on, what is the thing I can sell that's most likely to get somebody to come back and buy from me again. And so a great example of this is like, say there's a steakhouse, okay? Now I might be able to make a salad for €1 and sell it for 20. Super profitable, like sizzling hot profit, right? 20x return. But unless that's the greatest salad you've ever had in your life, you're never going to come back. Now, I might also make a filet mignon that's €100, and I lose 5 selling it to you. But it's amazing. You tell 5 of your friends about it. You come back 3 more times and you buy the wine and the shot, whatever it is. You come back and spend €1,000 over the next 6 months. You can try to make a profit today, or you can have a business where people come back and give you cash flow over and over again. You want to sell the steak. And so I don't know a single 8-figure business that doesn't run that way, because it's impossible to just be that good on the front end. And then the last thing I'll say is something that most businesses I see who are struggling to get past like 10,000, 20,000 a month. Like the number one problem they almost all have is they're trying to make a sale to anyone for anything. They've got 20 ads, 50 ads running, trying to sell 3 or 4 different products. Facebook sits at the top of the funnel. Then you have search and you have email and you have the website, all of that stuff. If you have 20 different ads trying to get 20 different people to come into your store for 20 different reasons, the ability for you to improve the landing page, to improve the conversion rate, or get somebody to take the upsell, or even get good emails or search is almost impossible. Like it's very, very difficult for anybody to do that. If you're talking to 20 different kinds of people that are interested for 20 different kinds of reasons. There's no shortage of your ideal customer. And most brands, unless you're doing like 1 million a week, you probably don't even need to focus on more than 1 or 2 kinds of people. Because if you know the person walking through this is a mom in her 30s with 2 kids that's like trying to lose weight and doesn't have like has a full-time job. That's a very specific person for you to make a ton of decisions around versus anybody trying to lose 5 pounds. What's my website going to look like when this ad works? Now I have to change everything. And as soon as I change everything on my website and my search and my email because this ad works, and then it dies and I launch 20 more ads and another ad works,
Yeah.
well, now I have to change everything again. So there's a desperation and a lack of clarity that most people have because they've been taught the way to be successful is anything an ad agency can do to make the report look good. The problem is making the report look good, getting a high return on ad spend has nothing to do with revenue in the business. And so if you want to be successful, specialists make a lot more money than generalists. Like if you have heart problems, you're not going to the general doctor, your kid's doctor, and being like, hey, can you help me? You're a doctor. Now you want to go to the greatest heart surgeon you're going to the number one thing. And the point here is, if you care enough that you're not going to buy on Amazon, you want the best thing. So you want somebody that's speaking specifically to you. And that lack of clarity is why 99% of businesses fail, because they're trying to be everything to anybody, which means they're nothing to anyone.
I love it. You know, the other day I listened something super curious that said that Meta ads is kind of like India when people go there, in the sense of like, or you love it or you hate it, in this, because it's changed so fast. O sea, what is working for you amazing maybe last week, now it's not like working. So it's like a relationship, like love, like hate. I tell you this because, you know, actually Meta, you know, is getting, I think, like harder. Or you think it's like people are doing the marketing like worse? You know, I don't know if it's because there is a lot of competitors. For example, I talk now like personally because I used to do like real estate business, and the good thing, there is a lot of margin in real estate. It's not like selling watches. That is, I think, the great thing. Bad thing, people is kind of a boring thing, so you need to do very different than other one because there is thousands worldwide. And also, I think I didn't try the other niches, but well, just travel. But for me, for my experience, it is one of the one. It's incredible how fast, like, because you are spending like a lot. You know, the frequency that you reach. You know, even being very wide, the audience is like very, very high. So you need to be, or have someone just dedicated to that, or have like an automation tool. So I told you this because, for example, before I was using Adespresso. Since HotSuite bought it, it's kind of a I don't like it personally. Do you know any other like tool that can help like entrepreneurs that are like solo founders, you know, to be able to scale their business because still they are like, you know, validated and they don't have enough money to pay someone to do it?
Yeah. I mean, the honest truth is, I think most people need to do way less. I think, let me put it to you this way. Let's think of every ad as an employee. Do you want to hire 100 employees that you spend 0 time training, and every week you fire 50 of them and hire 50 more? Do you think that's going to help your business be good? Let's say you have a coffee shop, and every week you're just hiring and firing 10 baristas at a time. There's no way to move forward. Or do you want a handful of people that are really, really good at their job, and you just invest in making them better and better and better? I don't know a single person who in the real world thinks that the way to be successful is to poorly train a lot of people and then fire anyone who's not lucky on the first day. But that's how most people run their ad accounts. And the reason that this is really important is because every one of your, Facebook has data. Now, first off, Facebook is the single most powerful consumer behavior conditioning device. Nothing in the history of humanity outside of religion can force people to think and behave a certain way or condition them to think in a certain way. I think religion is maybe number one, and not, some people defines their entire their value system, and that's great. My point is, the ad learns who responds to it. Every ad makes its own lookalike audience based around who responds to it and who doesn't. Andromeda is really strong, and the big lift with Andromeda, really what all it did is it made the journey from one ad to the next ad to the next to the purchase much stronger, because you had a lot of people just spamming the machine, throwing in dozens or hundreds or thousands of ads. And so let me put it to you this way. Let's say it's a coffee shop. Let's say I'm at the coffee shop waiting for my drink on a Monday. I prefer by the way, my drink of choice is a quad shot half cap. So 2 shots of normal, 2 shots of decaf, 1 cup. I like espresso, but I want more of it, right? So I have a quad shot half cap. That's my drink. Let's say I'm on Monday, I'm at the coffee shop. I'm waiting for my drink. I'm on my phone. I see an ad on Instagram. Cool. I watch the video. Then on Tuesday, I get served another ad on Facebook, and I click on it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I go to the website, and there's like, hey, give me your email address for 15% off or something like that. On Wednesday, I open up that email, and I'm looking around a little bit, and I'm like, oh, there's something I like. I'm going to add to cart, but my kid runs in or something like that, and I'm busy or whatever it is, right? Maybe the light turns green, and I put my phone down, and whatever. Then on Thursday, I'm like, oh, what was that brand? I didn't save the thing, so I'm just going to Google it. There's the business cool, Dandy Del Mar, one of my favorite one of my favorite clothing companies. I'm wearing this shirt right now. I'm going to Google Dandy Del Mar, click on the thing, go to the website. And then I'm like, okay, I know what I want. And I like add to cart and I leave it in my phone because I'm going to go back home and see if there's anything else that I want. Because I know if I add one more item, I'm going to get the free shipping, but I don't have the time to shop around right now. And then Friday morning, I'm waiting for my drink. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to finish that purchase. I open up my phone. There's the Dandy Del Mar. Oh, there's the other thing. I'm going to add it to cart and I'm going to buy. That is an extremely common customer journey. Most customer journeys look like that, but they might last weeks or decades. The point is, in that customer journey, you might see 4 or 5 Instagram and Facebook ads. You're also going to click on at least 1 or 2 search results. You're going to open up 1 or 2 emails and get the promotional code. So Klaviyo, Google, Facebook, they're all going to take credit for the sale. If you only look at the ad that makes the sale, the ad that I open up on Friday because I'm on my phone, I'm like, oh, there's an ad for Dandy Del Mar. Let me click on it. I'm going to go finish I open it up. My cart's already full because of the cookies on my phone. Done, right? The reason I say all of that is because most folks are trying to optimize for that last touch point, but Andromeda actually optimizes for the thing you see on Monday, not for the thing you see on Friday. They're trying to make it as incremental as possible. So to wrap this all up and add espresso or other things, the more ads you have, let's say you have 20 ads. I don't think people understand the math. If you have 5 ads, there's 125 different ways those 5 ads could be shown to somebody. If you have 12, it's like 400 million. If you have 50, the number is inconceivable. If you ask Chat GPT to show it to you, it'll take 2 seconds for the response to print on the screen. My point to that is, if the machine is really good at figuring out the customer journey of how to show somebody something on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday so they buy on Friday when they're ready to go, having dozens of ads makes that really difficult. So I think most people wildly overcomplicate their ad accounts. Now, if you're like, I've got one product image or 2 product images on my site, what do I do? My recommendation is use the AI inside of Meta. They have AI for your creative. They'll make a bunch of different versions. Here's the thing. They know what your customers are going to click on. If you make 20 different versions at the ad level and it's a flexible, if say you have a supplement business and you put it up there and it's like magnesium, whatever, right? And one of the things is weird because it's got leaves in the background. Well, maybe there's 1,000 people that will click on the ad that's got the leaves in the background and like the waterfall or whatever. And like they're going to buy from you and they wouldn't otherwise if it was just a white background. The point is, there's so many easy wins of just taking the product shot on your website and then letting the machine throw in some AI and putting it out. Because the more complicated and clever you get with the ad, the more different from your website it looks. And if I click on your ad and it doesn't look like your website, I'm not going to buy. And so if you set up a system that's extremely complicated with a bunch of really dumb employees to set up a customer journey where the machine can't do anything more than the last touch so that the ad looks very different from the website, you're never going to succeed. And in reality, you just need one kind of person and go find 10 of them. Go find 10 a day. Go find 100 a day. I promise you there's 10,000. So my point to all of that is, I think there is an agenda pushed by people that have ad agencies and software companies. Because they're defined on how many ads they have that are winning. They're defined by what the ROAS is. But if your scorecard is the bank account, you want the fewest moving parts possible so that you can work on the business instead of day trading ads. And if you have to day trade your ad account, you have a job. You're not a business owner. And if you can't work on the business, you'll never be better than a good day in your ad account, and you will always die. Your business will fail as soon as the ads get tough. So it's my very long-winded way of saying my favorite, honestly, is just the ad stuff. Or take your competitor ad, throw it into Gemini, give it your product, call it a day. The ad isn't the reason your business is successful. Wow. And I say it as the guy that spent $1 billion on ads. Your ad has very little to do with whether your business is successful or not. A really good ad into a bad business will fail. A really terrible ad into a good business will print $1 million.
Wow. I love it. Yeah. I always say that need to try to replicate the best and try to improve it. I mean, we don't need to invent again the wheel, what is performing well for other one, try to improve it with ChatGPT. There is each time more AI tools also that create even the audience and everything, which is synchronized with Facebook. And I love that. Now, a little bit connected, last but not least, because I don't want to steal more of your time, is if you need to mention one single metric that can predict more and better if an ad can be successful or not, which one could be?
Man, can I do 2?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm going to preface this by saying business is simple. It's average order value minus the cost per sale times number of transactions. That's business. So in the real world, you can either get more sales, you can lower your CPA, or you can increase your AOV. Those are the only options you got. Everything is a fancy method of making that happen. Now, all of that to be said, my favorite metric is something called GPT, which is gross profit per transaction. That's AOV minus CPA. That tells you how much profit you make per sale. It's not ROAS, it's not a ratio. What is the actual money in your bank account from each sale? Optimizing towards greatest GPT is way different than ROAS. You could have a ROAS of 5 and a CPA of 20. profit of $80. Or you can have a ROAS of 2 and on a CPA of 100. It's 100 profit. So one of the GPT is way more important. The other thing is second purchase rate. How many of your customers buy a second time? I don't care about repeat purchase rate. I don't care how many of my sales are repeat buyers. I care how many of my people buy more than once. And then I just want to find the thing where the amount of people who buy more than once is more than average, and where the profit per sale is more than average. And then me promoting anything else is a waste of my time and money. And I'm almost assuredly going to be working much, much harder to make far, far less if I don't look at those two metrics. And anything that, like, I don't care about CTR, I don't care about CPC, it's Facebook, those things don't matter. I don't care about ROAS because I care about money. ROAS has nothing to do with money. I don't care about hook rate. I don't care about almost any of those things because whatever gets me to the goal is all that I care about. And if you have the greatest ROAS, greatest click-through rate, greatest hook rate, and you go out of business, who cares?
Best publicity if a happy customer. The business that I perform, I have seen performing better, are the one that you see that people are buying and friend of friends. If that happens, it's like, okay, this is working. You know, we need to like spend more. It's kind of easy to say, okay, this is working or not. I mean, it depends on the business. You probably have tried a lot of business, but some of them, after like 2-3 weeks, you already see like how it's performing. Maybe like after 1-2 days, but it will depend. But in real estate, because the decision is like later, you know, like it's like maybe 1-2 call, because even if you sell something affordable, it still is a high ticket, you know, and it's not like buying shoes. But yeah, I love it. Have you been before to Indonesia or not?
What's that?
Have you been in Indonesia before?
Yeah. I go less since the kids were born. But we've gone to, I really enjoy like London. I really enjoy Paris. I really enjoy Mexico. Those are like my favorites.
Well, you need to come now. You are invited, of course. I will send you everything later via email. But there is an island, amazing, called Sumba. You know, we are building there like a place, I always said, to be productive in paradise, which is like people can like or stay, or some of them like invest, because I love big cities. I love Miami, I love Paris, London, Madrid. But at the same time, you know, to be relaxed on the beach, it's amazing. But this is very interesting. A lot of freelancer and digital nomad, when you're in the beach kind of like 1-2 weeks and it's too quiet, you get bored. So
that's my problem.
We don't want to that happen. So we want to build a lot of events, you know, and create a community in a place that at the same time is a paradise. So everybody can decide their own like calendar every day. So you have the best balance for both. So yeah, I hope to have you there very soon, Charley. And one last advice, like how people can follow you, how they can learn with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one thing, if anybody wants to learn from me, is check out Disruptor School, Disruptor Academy. That's my community on school. My business is called Disruptor School. If you Google that and can't find me, you shouldn't trust me as a marketer. Type in Charley T Disruptor on any platform, and you should be able to find me. And I will say this. Look to all the people who, anyway, I think that's the best thing. I'll leave it there. So yeah, if you want to find me, Charley T Disruptor on anything. And if you can't find me, then you shouldn't trust what I have to say about marketing. Because if I can't get you to find me, you definitely shouldn't trust me to help people find you.
I love it. Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Carlos.